Today I'm going to talk to you guys about relationships, and the title of my message is Where Are Your Friends? It was the year 2005, and it was definitely a year of the wedding. I had 10 weddings that I was involved with, 3 of them being a bridesmaid, 1 of them being a maid of honor. It was a crazy, busy year, and it was also one of the most depressing years of my life because all my best friends were getting married, and here I was, single and alone, and questioning myself, where are my friends? Where did they go? They're gone. I have no one. This sucks. And in this process, I remember thinking, literally, where are my friends? Like, God, I feel so alone, and I don't know what's going on. And a verse came to my mind, it's Psalm 68:6, and it says, God sets the lonely in families. You know, God has not designed us to be alone and to have no relationships. God wants us to have relationships, and he wants us to have deep, meaningful, intimate relationships. In Genesis 2, verse 18, it says, when God created man, he said it is not good for man to be alone. So he solved that problem by making Eve. He gave him a relationship. He produced a relationship for him because he saw that man needs relationship with one another. Without relationships, life is empty, boring, and lonely. It's no fun. Your relationships are meant to fit different needs in your life. Not all your needs in one relationship. Let me say that again because it's really important. Your relationships are meant to fit different needs in your lives. Not one relationship for everything. God has designed us to have multiple relationships to fit different needs. Not one person can fulfill every single need of your life. My husband cannot fulfill every single one of my needs. And we're going to talk a little bit more in depth with that because he hates going to country concerts. And that's a need in my life. And he just doesn't want to fulfill that need. So I have to find somebody to help fulfill that need in my life. So what I want for this to work in our lives, we need to understand 3 different levels of relationships. The first level is level 1, the 72. And you're probably wondering, where am I getting these numbers? Well, I'm glad you're wondering that and asking that because I want you to open up your Bibles to Matthew chapter 10. Oops, I lied. Luke chapter 10, verse 1. Luke chapter 10, verse 1. And I'm just going to read the first verse. You can go on and read more later, but the main principle I want you to get out of this is level 1, the 72, is these are relationships that fit one need in life. So in Luke chapter 10, verse 1, it says, after this, the Lord appointed 72 others and sent them 2 by 2 ahead of him to every town and place where he was about to go. Jesus is hanging out with people. Right before this, he's telling them the cost that's going to cost them to follow him, and like going through saying, let the dead bury their dead, foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, but I have nowhere to lay my head. So he's really explaining the cost that it's going to cost to follow him. And these are the 72 that stuck with him. Some translations say 70, but we're just going to go with 72 that he sent out. And their main goal for the 72, the relationship need that Jesus needed them to fulfill, was to go out and tell people about him. That was all. That was all he required of them. You know, in life, we need these kind of relationships. We need relationships in our lives that only maybe fit the one need. For instance, I have a great friend. Her name is Sarah, and she is my concert buddy. Any kind of concerts that I want to go to, I call her up and be like, let's go to Kelly Clarkson. And she's like, yeah! And just super excited. Or Rascal Flatts or whoever it may be. She's like, I'm on board. When is it? Here's my money. Let's go. That fulfills a need in my life. We all need relationships like that in life. I think also, like back in high school, I did track, and those friends I was friends with during track season. During the school year, during the summer, we didn't really talk to each other, didn't really do anything, but during track season, they fit that need of, like, we could talk about, like, I can't believe she threw that shot put that far, or did you see how fast she was running? It fit that need in my life for that time. We need relationships at this level because, like I said, not every relationship, not one person is going to fit every one of your needs. Which leads us to level 2, the 12. This is relationships that fit multiple needs in your life. Now if you flip over to Matthew chapter 10, we're going to read the first couple verses. Matthew chapter 10, verses 1 and 2. He called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority to drive out evil spirits and to heal every disease and sickness. These are the names of the 12 apostles. Simon, who is called Peter, his brother Andrew, James son of Zebedee, and his brother John, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew, James and Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. Here's a little bit deeper relationship, which is what we need. We can't stay at level 72 with people. We can't stay because it's not deep. My friend Sarah and I, we are not deep, close friends. I don't expect her to remember my birthday. I don't expect her to remember my anniversary. I don't expect a $50 Christmas gift from her. No. I don't expect any of those things from her. But level 2, I do expect these things from people. And Jesus expected the same thing. He wanted the disciples. He knew them by name. Notice in the 72, he just calls them the 72. He doesn't list any of their names. But when we move to the 12, he lists every one of their names. He even gives a little tidbit of information about, especially Judas, like this is the guy that's going to betray me, but he's still part of my 12. He gives more information. He gives them more commands. He gives them authority to drive out evil spirits, to heal every disease and every sickness, and to do those things. He went deeper with them. A great real-life example for the 12 in our lives is I'm sure most of you have been either a part of a small group or you lead a small group. This is a close, intimate friendship and relationship. I've led a junior high small group for the last probably 7 years, and it's been an incredible journey and super fun, and I love hanging out with those girls, and I know about their lives. I know what sports they're playing. I know that their parents are going through a divorce. I know that they had a bad week at school, that they failed their Spanish test. Like, I know those things, and honestly, they know things about me. They know that I'm nervous about preaching at youth the next week, or they know that this last Sunday when I spoke in front of the main church, it just sucked. And I mean, they know these things about me. There's an openness and relatability between us because it's a more intimate, close setting. You know, when I'm hanging out with my friend Sarah, I'm not talking about things I'm worried about at church or what I'm worried about in my family, but with my small group, with my 12, that's where I am talking about those things. I'm digging a little deeper. I'm building a deeper relationship. And that's what all of us need to do. We all need to go from just that first level of 72 and take it a notch deeper and go with a 12. Which leads me to my third point, which is level 3, the 3. This is relationships that fit most needs in your life. And there's 3 different references I'm just going to shoot out at you. We're not necessarily going to turn there. But I wanted to talk about Mark chapter 5, verse 37 is healing of Jairus' daughter. And Jesus takes with him Peter, James, and John. That's it. When he goes to go pray for Jairus' daughter, he only takes the 3. He doesn't take the whole 12. And then later on in Matthew chapter 17, at the Transfiguration, he only takes Peter, James, and John once again. And then at the end of his life in the Garden of Gethsemane, he only takes Peter, James, and John. See, Jesus knew the importance of an even deeper inner circle of friends. He knew that he needed that deeper intimacy. Yeah, he was God. He didn't have to do that, but he modeled it for us to repeat. We can't just have surface level relationships and think we're going to get through life and have a great time and it's going to be fantastic. Sure, you can fake it for a while, but eventually you're going to long for that deepening relationship with somebody. And same with level 2. You're going to have that small group of intimacy and you're going to feel good, but there's going to be deeper things that you want to get into. But when you're with 12 other people, it can be a little bit embarrassing to talk about, you know, this is what I struggle with, or I'm not really sure what this is going on in my life. It's harder to talk with 12, but when you've got 3 to 4 people that you're really close with, that you know are going to keep your secrets, that you know you can trust, that you know you can just tell anything to, and you also know that they're going to call you out on your junk, that means so much more to you. In my life, I've had 3 best friends, and they've been my best friends basically since elementary school. My very best friend, Brandy, and I've been best friends since 5th grade, so I'm 27 now, so it was like 17 years now. And she knows everything about me, good, bad, and ugly, which sometimes can not be so fun because she'll constantly remind me of random stories that I'm like, please forget this. I don't want to remember this. But this is important in my life. She's called me out on my junk. She has told me before, like, Amy, you're better than that. Stop being that way. Stop being a dork. Stop dating that guy. Like, don't be that way. You are better than that. I remember one time in particular where we're praying at a prayer meeting, and she was like, just looked at me and said, Amy, lift up your head. God has better plans for you. Stop throwing the pity party and grow up and move on. We need those kind of relationships in our lives. We need we need to allow people to go deep into our hearts and deep into our lives and to really experience that. And Jesus modeled that for us by these 3 different levels.